Hello guys, this is Doronsmovies and you're watching the second episode of the lore Q&A. Today I will be answering some of your questions from the previous Q&A video. If you would like to have your comments answered, make sure you either put it in the Q&A comment section or send me a PM on YouTube. Okay, so let's start. NoJig93 asks, I have a question about the age of Droll and Garrosh. I always thought Droll was older as he was fighting besides Grom and Shellscream against Manroth, but Droll is green and Garrosh is brown, which means that Grom's wife gave birth to Garrosh before Grom drank the demon blood. Well, Droll was born only 2 years after the creation of the Dark Portal. He was green because both of his parents were green, and pretty much green parents produce green babies. Now, there is a bit of a problem here as his parents were Durotan and Rekka, and they were the leaders of the Frostwolf clan. Now, Frostwolf clan denied Gul'dan and never actually joined the corrupted Horde. They never actually got corrupted and drank the blood of Manroth, and all of that was actually explained in the Rise of the Horde novel, because Durotan and Rekka were near Fel Magics when they were garrisoned in the Hellfire Citadel. But I think the real answer here is that Blizzard didn't really think this through, and when they designed the characters, they only knew about the green orcs, and they actually only implemented the brown orcs or the Megar in the Burning Crusade. Alright, next, Frankie asks, is Bolvar 4th Dragon going to be the new Lich King and use the forces of the undead against Azeroth, or is he going to be just a neutral guy or something like that? Well, that is kind of a mystery. I feel that Blizzard only left him as an opportunity for a new coming expansion. Even though he was kind of a loyal and a pure character, you never know because the Crown of the Lich King always changes the character within. He doesn't seem to be a good enough character as Arthas was to becoming evil Lich King, because Arthas was a leader that would go through any extent, even if that meant destroying his own people, while Bolvar was more rational. But right now there is no clear answer, so I only guess time will tell. Next on, Sir Dodina/Savage asks, why didn't the Alliance attack the Horde during the rebellion? It looks like an excellent chance for them to get rid of the Horde once and for all, while their forces were divided. One more question, how do the Blood Elves rule their lands? There is a ranger captain, but very little else is said about how they govern. Do they govern like the humans and have lords and ladies, or do they rule with mayors and so forth? Well, the answer to the first question would be that he has changed. Ever since the Shattering and also in Wolfheart, Varian has really changed. He is now a more diplomatic individual and he kind of thinks things through. Before that, he kind of always struggled with his other personality and pretty much was a split personality and was more direct and aggressive. He was almost like Garrosh but in a human version. Well, honestly, I think the real reason why he hasn't attacked them is because of technical reasons. You know, you can just lose a faction in the game, and what will happen to the players that play that faction? So pretty much they had to kind of think through a story and keep the faction the same. But even the idea of attacking wasn't exactly the best idea, because yes, he did invade Orgrimmar, but pretty much Orgrimmar was flooded with Orgrimmar survivors and all the forces that fought Garrosh. So yes, he could have called the reinforcements, but again it would be a huge bloodshed. An entire massacre would happen, and I think he kind of wanted like some bit of peace for his people and maybe some truce, even though he knows that that truce won't last long. About the other question, the Blood Elves were pretty much always under monarchy, and it only stopped once Arthas had destroyed more than 90% of their population. Today, the Blood Elf society is largely ran by magisters who are very aristocratic, but in most part they are very similar to the humans. Next, Ruler of all Bananas asks, what is the lore behind Gelbin Mekkatorque? For all those of you who don't know who Gelbin is, he is the leader of the gnomes and also known as the High Tinker. Generally, the gnomes don't really have much lore, and I hope sometime in the future Blizzard did actually work on that. So Gelbin was known for his invention called the Mechanostrider, which is the mount the gnomes use to this day. He also made the plans for the Deep Run Tram and the Dwarven Siege Engine. During the Third War, the gnomes were invaded by the Trogs. Now, knowing that the Alliance was busy with the war, he asked for help from his good friend and advisor Thermaplug. Thermaplug wanted to put some radiation and let the Trogs die and keep the gnomes safe, or at least that is what Gelbin thought. Thermaplug actually betrayed Gelbin and all of the gnome race and managed to wipe out more than 80% of them. The survivors were turned into leper gnomes. Gelbin led the people and settled in Ironforge, forming the new Tinkerstown. He plotted for quite some time to retake Gnomeragan, and he actually managed to free one portion of the Gnomeragan surface, now called the new Tinkertown, where he is residing right now. He also helped with the Siege of Orgrimmar in Mists of Pandaria. Continuing on, Cycle 2000 asks, how did Sargeras capture ner'zhul after he escaped Draenor? Well, it wasn't actually Sargeras that captured ner'zhul, but kil'jaeden. When ner'zhul decided to betray the Horde and only escape with his chosen followers, he went through one of those portals. Unfortunately, kil'jaeden together with his demonic minions were waiting for him on the other side. They tore his body part by part and kept his spirit alive, locking it into the frozen throne. His capture was described in an in-game book called The Birth of the Lich King. Alright, so last question is by Sema, and he says, what happened to the Sunwell after the Sunwell raid? I mean, Velen did renew the Sunwell, but well, no one said anything about it, and the Blood Elves were still Blood Elves, and there was no real lore between the Blood Elves afterwards either. Well, after the raid, Velen managed to restart the Sunwell with the help of the ner'zhul called Muru. After that, very little is known, as there were no updates to the Sunwell in the later expansions, but they might work on it in the newer expansions and change a few things to it as well. Alright, that is all I have for now. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to leave your questions in the comment section below. Also, don't forget to like, favorite and subscribe for more episodes. See you next time.